I choose people whose lives are shrouded in mystery and they've climbed the greasy pole. They want to be famous, they want to be influential, they want to be powerful.
Prince Harry will not make Meghan Markle a billionaire. She wants to be a billionaire, so who will? A new man. At some point, if it's offered up, it might happen. That is why she is constantly meeting new billionaires.
They want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know.
She will take her royal kids, who can still go by prince and princess, and find the billionaire.
Tom Bower didn't just expose Meghan Markle, he dismantled her, piece by polished piece. For years, the world was told she was the modern Diana, compassionate, silenced, misunderstood. But Bower's latest revelations ripped through that fairy tale like a spotlight through smoke. What he's uncovered isn't tragedy, it's strategy. And every move, every tear, every headline suddenly looks rehearsed.
But in the end, nothing beats the truth, the real fact. So when Meghan came along into the scene, I just thought, this is fascinating. How is this going to play out?
She called it a love story. He calls it a performance, because behind the speeches on kindness and authenticity hides an actress who rehearsed sincerity better than anyone in Hollywood until the script collapsed. The woman who claimed to fight for truth built her empire on contradictions. She preached equality while trademarking a royal child's nickname. She sold independent womanhood while living off the crown she condemned. She weaponized victimhood, and the receipts are finally public. So tonight we're not talking about rumors or tabloids. We're talking about documents, witnesses, and timelines that don't lie, even when she does. This isn't a fall from grace, it's the end of an illusion. And once you see how deep Tom Bower's evidence cuts, you'll understand why Meghan Markle's carefully crafted empire isn't collapsing by accident, it's burning from the inside out.
And that ridiculous story about how they first met, the whole thing was a tissue of inaccuracies, to be polite. That she arrived in London, full career, single girl, wasn't interested. Of course, she'd been coming to London since 2013, hunting for a man to marry. She wanted an Englishman. She was on a manhunt. And she wanted wealth and she wanted fame. And she targeted, there's no doubt she targeted Harry.
London 2025. The palace corridors are quieter now, but the whispers never stopped. And at the center of it all stands Tom Bower, the man who turned royal myth into documented fact. He isn't a gossip columnist. He's the biographer world leaders fear to correct. Decades of archives, cross-checked sources, signed affidavits. His words don't rely on rumors. They rely on evidence that can survive a courtroom. That's why Harry and Meghan, for all their threats, have never once dared to sue him. His latest findings are a forensic autopsy of Meghan's public persona, a timeline that bleeds through every contradiction she's ever tried to bury. From Toronto film sets to Montecito mansions, his research connects a single pattern, a woman reinventing herself every time the truth catches up.
Meghan Markle plans to leave Prince Harry to become a billionaire.
Harry, being a simple soul, has easily changed to suit Meghan's agenda.
Former aides describe charm that flips to fury in seconds. Producers recall deals that dissolved when the spotlight moved away. Even royal staff, once silenced by non-disclosure, now confirm what insiders whispered for years, that the truth Meghan told on camera was a character she built off stage. Every document, every witness, points to one conclusion. The brand was the goal, and the marriage was the vehicle. And as Bower's investigation widens, it no longer sounds like the story of a misunderstood Duchess. It sounds like the blueprint of a calculated takeover. Until now, no one could prove it. But this time, the evidence speaks louder than her interviews ever did. Before the documentaries and lawsuits, before the Netflix cameras and the speeches on compassion, there was the carefully constructed legend of Meghan Markle. The world was told she was the underdog who defied the odds, the biracial actress who conquered Hollywood, found love with a prince, and challenged an ancient institution from within. It was the perfect 21st century fairy tale, modern, diverse, defiant, but every perfect story begins with editing, the kind that hides the inconvenient scenes.
Why isn't anybody questioning this? Karina Shulia was Jeffrey Epstein's last known girlfriend. She is on record saying that the only times she flew on a plane, went on a yacht, or whatever was with her boyfriend, Jeffrey Epstein. And here we have Rachel Meghan Markle parading on a yacht since 2014, at the very least that these pictures emerged there.
Her public image was sculpted with precision. Soft lighting, tearful interviews, charity photo ops timed to perfection. Each frame whispered the same message. She's the victim, not the villain. And for a while, everyone believed it, until the first cracks appeared, because while the cameras captured smiles, the paperwork told another story. Long before Lilibet became the world's most controversial baby name, web archives showed something else, that Harry and Meghan secured the domain before the Queen even knew. A sacred nickname turned into intellectual property. And when the palace quietly corrected their version of events, the Sussex team threatened, denied, and doubled down. That single act shattered the illusion. It wasn't a misunderstanding, it was a transaction. And for Tom Bower, it was the first trace of the pattern, a blueprint that would repeat again and again. Emotion first, evidence later. Because behind every heartfelt speech and every victim headline, there was always a business plan waiting in the shadows. And that was only the beginning. The deeper Tom Bower dug, the less her timeline made sense. Dates shifted, stories changed, and and the woman who called herself a self-made survivor began to look more like a self-written myth. The tale of a struggling, latchkey child dissolves under receipts, private schools, ballet lessons, new cars, and tuition fully paid by the father she later erased from her narrative.
And this is from a woman who attacks her father mercilessly in the series.
Meghan, she loved me. I'm a hero. And suddenly I was thrown out.
The same man who filmed her smiling in luxury is now portrayed as an abuser in her script of selective memory. Even her so-called activism story, the famous soap commercial letter, has no trace in corporate records. The letter never existed, except in her own retelling. But it was the Oprah interview that turned suspicion into proof. Bauer cross-referenced her every claim, line by line, against official documents and palace logs. 17 contradictions, from the alleged secret marriage impossible under Church of England law to the claim that her son was denied a title due to skin color when royal peerage rules had said otherwise for centuries. And when confronted with evidence, she didn't correct, she pivoted. Every falsehood became a new performance, every exposure a new emotional trauma. Behind closed doors, the facade cracked further. During the Australia tour, the very trip that made her a global sensation, staff described shouting matches, thrown tea, and aides in tears. What the cameras filmed as triumph, insiders remember as chaos. It wasn't royal protocol she fought, it was the hierarchy that refused to revolve around her. Each contradiction built on the next, like dominoes collapsing in slow motion. The truth wasn't buried, it was ignored because the illusion sold better. But Bauer wasn't selling illusions, he was collecting evidence. And what he uncovered next exposed something far colder than ambition. It revealed a strategy. Every scandal leaves fingerprints. And when Tom Bauer laid them side by side, a disturbing pattern emerged. Not chaos, not coincidence, but choreography.
We're being brainwashed by these Hollywood people who think this is the way to make money and, in the end, destroy our monarchy to make their fortune. Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Right.
The Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. And I don't see where she is going from here. I think she has a major problem.
Each lie served a purpose. Each contradiction protected the same goal, control. The childhood fairy tale, the royal martyrdom, the feminist crusade, all designed to manufacture sympathy while monetizing outrage. It wasn't spontaneity, it was branding dressed as morality. By the time the Netflix cameras rolled, that machinery was fully operational. The truth-telling series had already been edited while Meghan walked beside the royal family at the Queen's funeral, smiling for unity as she weaponized grief for global streaming. The footage was ready, the betrayal was scheduled. Her ventures tell the rest of the story. Spotify canceled, Archewell reduced to statements nobody reads, and Hollywood, once dazzled by her name, now treats her like a risk, not royalty. The same studios she once courted won't return calls, because in an industry that worships reinvention, Meghan's brand has crossed the line between evolution and manipulation. Even her supposed relaunch, American Riviera Orchard, reeks of desperation. Critics note copied concepts, recycled slogans, and a scent of entitlement stronger than any perfume she could sell. The woman who promised to empower others can't even convince investors she believes her own message. Bauer's conclusion is brutal in its simplicity. There's no conspiracy against Meghan Markle. There's only the consequence of her own fabrication. The walls didn't close in because of palace prejudice or media bias. They closed in because the performance ended and the audience finally saw the lights.
The idea that she was Diana was all a fantasy, both of herself and of Harry. And Harry completely misunderstood his mother, who he obviously barely knew, and didn't realize what a manipulative and determined woman she was herself.
Coincidence or calculation? Maybe she never lied by accident. Maybe the illusion was the plan all along. When Tom Bauer traced the final thread, it didn't lead to money or marriage. It led to obsession, because every decision Meghan made after joining the monarchy mirrored someone who came before her, Diana. But where Diana's pain was genuine, Meghan's became a performance script, rehearsed in slow motion. Side-by-side photos reveal identical poses, matching outfits, identical glances at the camera, not coincidence but choreography. Public tears, head tilts, even quotes recycled from Diana's interviews. The woman who claimed to feel haunted by the past was busy restaging it, scene by scene, for her own documentary close-ups. According to Bauer, Meghan didn't want to honor Diana. She wanted to become her. She sought the same pity, the same press, the same tragic glow. Only this time, the cameras would be under her control. Insiders say she even reached out to Earl Spencer, Diana's brother, with a chilling request, permission to use the Spencer surname for future branding. He refused instantly, because some legacies can't be bought and others shouldn't be imitated. The result? A public caught between deja vu and disbelief, watching a woman repackage one of Britain's most painful histories into clickbait sympathy. And when the illusion started to crash, she accused the audience of betrayal. That's the paradox Tom Bauer exposes. Meghan Markle didn't lose her reputation by accident. She overproduced it. Every gesture became an echo, every story a borrowed tragedy. In trying to relive Diana's legend, she killed her own.
Actually, when they were also filming for the Netflix series that he asked Charles Spencer, because for some reason Meghan didn't like the surname Mountbatten-Windsor. If you remember, in her first lifestyle series with Meghan with Them Forever, she says to Carling that her surname isn't Markle but Sussex. And she was desperate to get it. She said, we never had a proper surname. Of course they did.
Now the world sees the reflection for what it is. Not a princess reborn, but an actress trapped in her own mirror. And once you realize the mirror was the plan all along, the performance stops feeling like tragedy and starts looking like theft. For years, Meghan's favorite word was compassion. She wore it like a crown, polished it for interviews, engraved it on charity slogans. But behind that soft language, Tom Bower's findings reveal something far colder. Compassion, not as a virtue, but as a disguise. Emails from former staff paint the picture clearly. Endless speeches about kindness, followed by tirades that left aides in tears. Those who tried to help her were quietly erased. Those who challenged her were branded toxic, racist, or unstable. And when accountability came knocking, she turned every fallout into a feminist statement. Even family wasn't spared the performance. Her father, once paraded as a symbol of love and sacrifice, became disposable the moment he stopped following the script. Her half-siblings silenced. Her in-laws weaponized. Every connection was a storyline until it stopped serving the brand. The hypocrisy ran even deeper during the most sacred moments of royal grief. As the world mourned the Queen, Meghan smiled through the crowds, cameras capturing unity, while editors in California finalized her Netflix attacks against the same family she was pretending to honor. Grief was currency, and she spent it publicly. Bower describes it best. The mask never slipped, it was simply replaced. The humanitarian turned victim. The victim turned mogul. The mogul turned preacher of empathy. Each transformation designed to cleanse the last disaster while cashing in on it.
Meghan Markle knew that, and she manipulated him because of that. Then, when she got everything that she wanted, right?
In the end, her kindness looks rehearsed, her compassion feels manufactured, and her moral outrage sounds like dialogue from a press kit. Because when you monetize mercy and trademark trauma, the brand may survive, but the soul doesn't. And for Meghan Markle, every new act of compassion only reminds the audience that the performance never ended. It just lost its applause. Maybe the official story was true. Maybe it was all one grand misunderstanding. A woman crushed by the weight of monarchy, misunderstood by the press, betrayed by everyone but herself. Maybe. But the evidence doesn't whisper maybe. It screams pattern. Every timeline, every headline, every contradiction points to the same truth. Meghan Markle didn't stumble into controversy. She manufactured it, marketed it, and sold it to the world wrapped in sympathy and sparkle. Tom Bower didn't destroy her image. He just turned on the light. And when the spotlight shifted, the carefully painted scenery began to peel, revealing not a victim, but an architect. So the question isn't whether her story collapsed. It's whether she ever believed it herself. Because behind the camera smiles, the charity slogans, and the endless rebranding, one truth keeps echoing. What she calls authenticity was always strategy. And if you think this was the final act, it isn't. What happens next takes that illusion and burns it on a much larger stage. When the products tied to her lifestyle empire started coming back faster than they could ship them out. Mass returns, silent embarrassment, a brand imploding in real time. If you want to see that unraveling, the moment Meghan Markle's glamour finally met the truth of the public, watch our previous investigation next. You're watching Star Spotlight, where the truth doesn't hide behind the headlines, it burns through them.